This is the Horse Radio Network.
This is episode 624 of the Dressage Radio Show, official podcast of the United States Dressage Federation on the Horse Radio Network, brought to you by Kentucky Performance Products and TotalSaddleFit.com. On today's show, we will be joined by Lacy Jinks from USDF with reminders about nationals. Then we have the privilege of interviewing Canadian team rider Lindsay Kellock. We also share some thoughts on horse retirement. And to close the show, Alice Tarjan has a great trainer tip.
This is Reese Koffler-Stanfield from Georgetown, Kentucky.
And this is Philip Parks from Rockwood, Ontario, and you're listening to the Dressage Radio Show.
Well, hello, Phil.
Hi, Reese. I think everybody should know we have a special guest joining us tonight.
I know, drum roll. We're really excited. Glenn Hebert. Glenn, you haven't stopped by in a long time to visit us.
There you go. Hey, guys. I know
Hi.
I haven't been around to Dressage World for a while.
We really do miss you.
Did you get bored or
Yeah.
like
What are you saying?
what did we do wrong?
I'm not
Here
answering
you
that
are.
question. I'm really not answering that.
Pleading the fifth. I guess you can do that in America.
Yeah, yes,
that's
it's a
right.
big American thing. For
That's
sure.
right. Happy Canada Day, Phil.
Happy Canada Day. Yeah, it's a bit of a holiday here and the weather's beautiful. So
Now, do you guys have fireworks stands at every corner and you scare every animal within 12 miles of every square block of Canada too?
That's kind of a thing as well.
Yeah.
We borrowed that nasty celebration thing from, I guess it's from you guys. I don't know.
And we
Yeah.
probably got it from the British.
Yeah, Paul. It's coming back to the British.
So, guys, I just have a couple of announcements to make. One of them involves Reese, and one of them involves our tremendous sponsor, Kentucky Performance Products. So we are Jennifer and I are heading out on what we're calling the HRN Roadshow at July 31st. We're going out for 5 weeks. We're going to hit 14 states, and it's basically a listener tour. So we're going to be staying at listener farms, and we're going to be doing meetups all along the way. I think there's a total of 12 meetups planned. So I just wanted to mention that, and we would love to meet you. Reese is going to be at one of them, so we'll talk about that one specifically. But you can go to horseradionetwork.com and click on the Roadshow banner, and it shows you where all the meetups are going to be, and you can RSVP. There's Facebook event pages for everyone. That gives all the details. But we're basically going to be heading from Alabama to Tennessee, where we're doing a concert with Templeton Thompson. And we're going to broadcast that live. So if people can't make it in person, we'll put it out to all the Facebook pages. So you can watch that at home as well. And then we're going to head up to Lexington. We're going to be staying at Reese's driveway, basically.
Yeah, exactly. I have a hookup. You're welcome.
I know. I'm so excited. So, yeah, we're going to be bringing the RV and parking it at Listeners Farms, and we're going to be staying at Reese's. And we're doing a meetup in Lexington for everybody that's in the Lexington area. It's going to be August the 7th, and we're doing it at the Kentucky Horse Park. So the Carriage Association of America has offered us to use their offices. So we're going to be doing that. We're going to have a barbecue. Food will be provided. Bring your own bottle. And we're just going to be hanging out and having a lot of fun. And then Karen from Kentucky Performance Products will be there. And we're going to hang around for the weekend. Reese, I'm going to get rid of us too quickly. And
I love it.
a special guest is coming in, Jamie Jennings. We're flying her in. So from Horses in the Morning, she's my co-host. She'll be there for the weekend as well. And we're going to hit up Thoroughbred Farms. We're going to go drink some bourbon, all kinds of fun stuff.
Those are my favorite things. I'm so sad that I can't fly in.
Well, maybe the border will open, Phil.
Maybe the border will open.
Maybe the border will open.
One of these days, they'll let you out of the country.
Someday,
Yeah.
you have to be able to come visit us because that would be so fun. And in normal circumstances, you would have come. We'd love it when Phil comes too, and we could have like a whole.
Phil's so ready to get out, he would go anywhere.
Yeah, he would walk. He does like to come visit, though. I think. Well,
and then we're going to head up to Michigan, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Maryland, Virginia. North Carolina, this is a total of 3,200 miles we're going to be doing over 5 weeks. And we're either going to be killing each other by the end, or it'll just be a lot of fun. It's going to be one of the two.
I think it's going to be
nothing
so
in
much
between.
fun.
Yeah, one of the two.
Well, we said our motto for this is it's either going to be fun, it's going to be a disaster, it'll be disastrously fun. And I know that the listeners are rooting for the third. So
yeah,
I think I am too. I'm definitely option 3.
So that's the one thing. You can find out all the details. As I said, that'll be all through the month of August. Listeners and auditors will be getting together, and we'd just be glad to meet everybody and anybody that comes out. And if this goes well, the plan is next year to go west of the Mississippi for 2 months and hit the west of the United States. So that's why we bought the RV, and I've always wanted to do this. So this was the year. We got our shots. We're ready to go.
I love it. Well, we can't wait to have you here and to see everybody in the Lexington area. It's going to be lots of fun. And I'm sure there'll be a little bit of partying at Maple Crest Farm, potentially with the bourbon we try. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I know your husband keeps a stash around. So.
Yes, we have a stash. You're set here at the farm. Don't you worry. We'll probably do a tasting. My husband is a bourbon aficionado and could run a tasting himself. So I think that's probably going to happen. But we really can't wait, Glenn. So I'm looking forward to it.
If they open the border, you are more than welcome to come.
He's coming.
I will say that there's not extra room in our little camper for you. No, I'm sorry.
That's okay. That's okay. There's lots of hotels. Yeah.
Hey, one other thing, we're going to be doing our show, Horses in the Morning, that Monday that we're there. We're going to be doing it from Kentucky Performance Products, from the offices in the warehouse there. And they have something special going on right now, and they wanted me to mention it. Right now, through July 31st, they're doing a contest that they want you to write in and answer some simple questions. And they are, why have you chosen Kentucky Performance Products over other brands? And how has Kentucky Performance Product supplements helped your horse? I know a lot of you use KPP products, and basically you just say how they've helped your horse, put it in there, and we're going to pick a winner at the end of the month. And the winner's going to get 20% off and free shipping for 1 year on all Kentucky Performance Product supplements. It does not include Equijewel. Equijewel must come in gold-lined boxes or something. But it also is going to include prizes, custom leather halter, a turbo dry sheet, and a whole bunch of other prizes as well. So that runs through the end of July. You go to kppusa.com and you'll see the banner right there. You can click on it and just fill out the form and tell them why you love using their products, and you could be a winner. So I wanted to mention that as well.
How cool. I love it. And life-changing products for my horses. And that is not a joke. We have lots of fun stories that we can tell, and fantastic products. And that's why my horses look so pretty and shiny and healthy. So KPP is an amazing company.
Is that why you keep winning stuff?
Well, it certainly helps. Let me tell you, it does. Yeah, it's all about the team. It's all about the horse's
Reese's
nutrition.
ability to ride or anything.
Well,
it's all KPP.
It's all of it, right?
Yeah.
Well, and what I love about KPP and Karen over there is I have questions all the time on horses, and she's so generous with her time, and she will really take time to help you figure out. I've had some horses with some kind of funny issues, and she's amazing. Like, I'll call her, I'll tell her the problem, and then within a day she calls me back and she's like, so I did all this extra research. I'm like, oh my gosh, she's amazing. So, but that's just not for me. She does that for everybody, and it's incredible.
She's the title sponsor of our trip. She's sponsoring the road show. And this is a woman who has sponsored us for 12 years through Kentucky Performance since we started, and has been our biggest sponsor all those years. And she has volunteered to drive Jamie around all weekend. So she's Ubering as well as sponsoring. So that's the kind of person she is, though.
Yeah, that's the kind of person she is.
Now, we do have other sponsors I do want to mention for the road show. Uncle Jimmy's Hanging Balls and Licky Things.
Yes. Now we're talking.
That's only so I can do the commercials.
Yeah, exactly.
And horselovers.com and Equity Manure Forks are all sponsors for the trip, and we really appreciate their support too. So here it is. as far as we know, we are the first podcasting network to ever do something like this where we're staying at listener places. Other people have done tours where they go out and stay in hotels and that kind of thing, but nobody's ever stayed at the farms. We did a little test tour in Aiken and Southern Pines. We did a week and had a fabulous time. And what we found out is people treated us like royalty and fed us really well. We're going to gain 50 pounds on this trip. So it was fantastic. And Aiken and Southern Pines are worth visiting too. What great little places they are.
Absolutely. How fun. Oh, I love it. Well, I can't wait for you guys to stop with us. It's going to be really fun.
I have one dressage story from our test trip. I'll tell you real quick. So we stayed at a place in Aiken, and it was, her name is Chris, and she's a dressage lady, and it's a beautiful farm. I mean, just gorgeous. And we were parked right in front of the rose bushes, right in front of the fancy barn with the big dressage horses that were huge. And in front of us was her arena. And this arena was so fancy that the letters were lit at night.
Wow. That's cool.
I've never
I want to see a picture of that.
I have never seen the letters lit at a dressage arena at night before. Have you ever seen that?
No, that's really cool. That's beautiful. I want to see the pictures. That's a great idea.
So Reese, there, you can aspire to that someday.
I can. I don't know. I mean, I only have an indoor, so that would be weird.
Yeah, that would be just glow.
You know, just glow. I would be like, what? Did not turn off a light? What's happening in there?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. But that was a unique thing we found in the dressage world while in Aiken.
Okay, that's really cool. Love it.
Well, thanks, guys, for letting me stop by. I appreciate it.
Well, thanks for stopping by, and we can't wait for you to actually literally stop by our driveway here shortly.
It's been a while. I miss you.
I know. We miss you, too. We can't wait.
And Phil, I think they're going to let you out this month, July 21st. I think they're going to let you
Phil!
That's the word. Yeah, July 21st.
Now we're going to talk off air, Phil. You're coming.
Everybody from Canada is going to flood into the United States.
It's so true.
Well, we'll be happy to see you too if you decide to show up.
Well, Phil, we have a great show today. Right after this commercial break, we're going to come back with Lacy Jinks from USDF.
Founded in 1973, the United States Dressage Federation has become the largest organization to represent a single Olympic equestrian discipline. At nearly 30,000 members strong, USDF is your connection to dressage education, competition, and achievement. Visit USDF.org to learn more about USDF education, competition and award programs, and to shop our online store. Again, that's USDF.org, your online destination for dressage.
Well, tonight for our USDF segment, we are so happy to have Lacy Jinks. She is Senior Coordinator in charge of Regional Championships. Lacy, welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks. Happy to be here.
Well, I have a feeling a lot of people right now are working hard to get qualified for all of their regionals and their respective regions. So we wanted to start talking about, as we're qualifying and if you're thinking about going to nationals, we'll just start. What should our riders and competitors be doing right now?
Yeah, absolutely. If competitors have interest in attending the U.S. Dressage Finals, if they qualify at regionals through either placings or getting a wild card score, they should go on the U.S. Dressage Finals website. It's usdressagefinals.com and submit a declaration of intent to compete, which doesn't cost anything. And declarations are now open, and basically just say what classes they would be interested in trying to qualify for. And that kind of puts them in the computer system as if they qualify to attend as wanting to attend. And that has to be done before the regional championship competition starts. So I suggest if riders have any potential interest at all to go ahead and submit that declaration. It doesn't cost them anything, and it gets it done before the championship craziness.
I love it. So Lacy, just because literally I'm going to do it right when we finish this call, where do I find said declaration?
Yeah, so you can access it two ways. You can go to the USDF.org website, go under competitions and click on U.S. Dressage Finals. There's a link which will take you to the main U.S. Dressage Finals page, and then click on, there's a competitors tab at the very top, with a blue bar that says Declare and Nominate, or you can just go directly to the USDressageFinals.com website, go to competitors, and get to it that exact same way.
I love it.
And there's also a link.
5 minutes from now.
There's also a link to the prize list as well. So if competitors want to go ahead and review the classes offered, they can do that as well.
Oh, I love it. Okay. So that is fantastic. That's one of the things now that everybody should be doing. And then obviously getting qualified for regionals, which is coming up, right? I mean, the deadline's not yet, but it's coming up, correct? For most regions in early fall, late summer.
Yep. Many regions are probably in full swing of the show season. So our first kind of qualifying season deadline is middle of August, and that's for Region 5. So absolutely, it's getting close. It seems crazy that competition season is already kind of getting towards the middle and winding down, but yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I
know. So tell us a little bit about what's going to be different this year at the Nationals.
Absolutely. So this year is the first year that the U.S. Dressage Finals will have national level. So that's training through 4th level classes for junior young riders, which is very exciting. And then also we will have, since the 2020 U.S. Dressage Finals was unfortunately canceled, riders from 2020 that were qualified based on regional championships last year will be able to nominate to come to the 2021 finals. So that'll be exciting as well. So we'll have riders potentially from both years coming to finals.
That is fantastic. I know, I'm looking forward to that. So anything that people should be thinking about, if they're coming to Lexington at that time, is it time to sort of book hotels, or what are you guys advising everybody for that?
It's always a good idea to at least start thinking about hotels. It might be, booking hotels unless taking use of the 2020 carryover nomination process. It might be a little premature just because everyone won't necessarily qualify, unfortunately, to come to Kentucky, but it's definitely a good thing to start thinking about and planning for.
For sure. Well, I love it. Well, Lacy, is there any other information that we need to get out right now to people about finals?
No, I would make sure if the finals is something you're interested in doing, that you're set for regional championship qualifying. So many people get near the end of the qualifying season for their region and find out that they aren't eligible for some reason, be it missing, one of the memberships they need, or thinking they had the right number of scores, but one of the, qualifying scores wasn't high enough. So just make sure as soon as you think you have everything in line and have all your scores, check USDF scores, check the qualified ride list, make sure you actually are qualified, and then we could start moving on towards the regional competition and then thinking about US Dressage Finals as well. So that would be that's kind of what I recommend everybody to do.
I love it. And I think that's really important. So, I actually did that a couple weeks ago because we were doing some entries, and I was pretty sure all my horses were qualified, but I just double checked. I couldn't find it. I sent an email to the office. I got a confirmation. So it was great because it really made me feel like, okay, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to move forward. So I think that's always great. And you guys are at the office, and how can our listeners find you if they have any more questions?
Yeah, any regional championship or U.S. Dressage Final qualifying type questions, they can either call my direct line, which is 859-271-7886, or shoot me an email at ljinks@usdf.org.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much. And we look forward to seeing you at finals.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
This Nutrition Minute is brought to you by Kentucky Performance Products, the company that simplifies your search for research-proven nutritional supplements at kppusa.com.
Have you heard of Saccharomyces boulardii? It's a yeast, a type of probiotic. Often referred to as S. boulardii, it benefits your horse's digestive tract in several different ways. One unique property of S. boulardii is that it supports the stimulation of something called brush-broader membrane enzymes that are found in the intestinal lining. These enzymes help your horse digest starches and sugars in the small intestine. When the sugars and starches are more completely digested, fewer of them escape into the hindgut, where they can ferment and cause imbalances that lead to colic, diarrhea, and laminitis. Saccharomyces boulardii is found in Nalox Advanced, made by Kentucky Performance Products. Nalox Advanced contains a blend of yeast, fermentation solubles, and stomach buffers. These ingredients work together to maintain your horse's digestive tract in peak condition. Nalox Advanced is recommended for horses of all ages and stages and is fed on a daily basis.
This Nutritional Minute has been brought to you by Kentucky Performance Products. You can find all of their terrific products at kppusa.com.
Well, tonight we are so excited to have Lindsay Kellock. She is on her way to the Olympics in Tokyo with Sebastian. And this is actually going to be her first Olympic Games riding, but she groomed at the Beijing Olympics for Jackie Brooks and at the London Olympics for Ashley Holzer. And so now she gets her opportunity on the international stage in Tokyo. Lindsay, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks so much for having me.
Oh my gosh. I mean, it's just, I have goosebumps for you. And so we want to hear all the things and what you're doing and what you're planning. But first, tell us a little bit about yourself and your horse, Sebastian.
So my name's Lindsay Kellock, and I've been riding dressage, I think probably since I was 12. I came into dressage because my mom is a dressage rider, and she's the one who gave me the bug. And I've just come up the levels, starting in pony camp and then going up through, schooling shows, did a little bit of jumping, a little bit of eventing. And then my mom's actually best friend happens to be Ashley Holzer, who's my coach and mentor, trainer for the last 10, 11 years. And so that's how I got to be with Ashley. And and again, I'm grateful to my mom who really started me out in dressage, because that's why I have such a love for it. And what else? Sebastian. So Sebastian is a 15-year-old Rhinelander gelding. He's owned by Melissa Schiff of Enterprise Farm Equestrian. And I've been partnered with him now for almost 5 years in October. What a horse. I've never sat on a horse with the amount of talent that he has. I mean, he goes in the ring and he just loves to show. He loves to show off. That being said, I would say he's probably been my most challenging horse to date. He has his opinions, and he's really taught me about patience and training. And he's not a horse that I can really just say, okay, you're doing this now. He's not a pushover. He makes me work for it. And it's very rewarding in the end when he can go in the ring and perform as well as he does, because the road to get there has not been super easy. So that's kind of a little bit of a recap on him.
Yeah. So I just like to ask you, like, where did you grow up? Because you are Canadian, but I don't think you live in Canada now. So just talk to us a little bit about your shifts in location during your journey.
Yeah. So I grew up in Toronto, Canada, and then I graduated high school, and I decided I was actually going to take a year off riding and go to university. So I took the year off riding, went to university, decided after a year that I still had the bug for the horses and training, and that wasn't going to be my path. And I left school, and my parents said, okay, well, now you're going to have to figure out how to make a living and going to support this habit of yours anymore. So they said, you have to find an alternative and figure out where you're going to go. And I was, up until that point, I was training with Jackie Brooks, but I didn't have a horse at the time. My junior horse had been retired, and my parents just obviously had said, you're either going to go to school or you're going to have to work. So that's when I gave Ashley Holzer a call, and I said, hi, I'm looking for a working student position. Would you have me? And she was in New York at the time. And she's like, yeah, I'd love to have you. So I went to New York, and that was in 2008. And I haven't left since. Yeah, the plan was to take a year off school and see where it went. And I ended up managing Ashley's barn for 7 or so years, became her assistant trainer, worked my way up in her barn, and went out on my own, I think about 4 years ago.
Fantastic. So are you still in New York?
Yeah. I'm in New York now. Yeah. So I'm actually in New York and Connecticut, and in both areas, but I base out of Wilton, Connecticut. And then I have clients who own farms in Greenwich, Connecticut, and in North Salem. So that's where I'm based now.
Fantastic. And then you're in Wellington in the winter, right?
Yeah. And I'm in Wellington in the winter. Yeah.
I love it. So let's shift a little bit. Yeah, to what's going to happen. I mean, I'm fascinated. So that's the fun part about getting to ask you a question. So we're talking, it's Thursday, July 1st is when we're talking. And so tell us now what happens with you and Sebastian. You guys just got named, and so kind of fill us all in. What's happening now?
Okay, so now we fly tomorrow, like I mentioned earlier. Sebastian flies to Liège, Belgium, and he will be on the flight until, so he leaves at 1 p.m. tomorrow, and then he arrives probably in the morning on the 3rd, and then he will ship to the Aachen Showgrounds, which is where our pre-quarantine training camp is. So we're there until the 15th, and I'll be there with the rest of my teammates, and we'll be training there. And then the horses leave to go to Tokyo on the 15th. So it's a short time, I guess, to be in Europe, but it's a requirement by the Japanese government that the horses must quarantine at least 7 days before the flight. So that's why we're all meeting in Aachen. And I think it's going to be exciting because it's not only the Canadian team there, it's all of the teams. So it's the US team and all of the European teams, which is pretty cool.
That is cool.
Kind of like a pre-Olympics.
Pre-Olympics.
It is. Yeah. I think the only team that's not going to be there is the GB team. They're going to stay in the UK, but the rest of, the Germans will be there. The Dutch will be there. So I'm hoping, we'll be able to have some visibility into, their training sessions and learn from that. I think that'll be great. So I'm excited.
Oh, to be in a fly on the wall there. I'm just saying, you just be able to watch. How fun.
Yeah. And with COVID, there's really strict rules and guidelines for us. So we're not allowed to go to restaurants or really be anywhere but the venue and our hotel. So that's going to be a different experience for sure, but take it as it comes, do our best.
So I assume that Ashley is going to be with you, and I just wanted to give her kind of a shout out because she is the personal coach of the entire Canadian team, including the reserves.
Yeah.
So that's sort of special to, you're kind of with your friends or people that even.
It's so special.
Talk about that.
Ashley's incredible. I mean, I think we have a very unique team because, Brittany and Chris and I have been best friends for a very long time. And I actually was the one. So Brittany came to me probably like 8 years ago, right when I was working for Ashley, and said, oh, do you think that you could get me in? And we were good friends at the time. And Ashley is very hard to get into her barn. And I'm like, oh, I'll do my best. Like, okay, you should probably email her at this time. And then she might say yes. And I'll put in a good word.
And catch her in a good mood. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, exactly. And it was a lot of manipulating behind the scenes to get Brit in, because I wanted Brit to move to New York and be, it was for selfish reasons. I was like, this would be awesome if my best friend could come and live in New York with us. And then turns out Ash took her on and took her and all in on. And yeah, we've been together really ever since in Ashley's barn. So it's just really amazing that we can both come up the levels together and now go to the Olympics together. And same thing with Chris. Chris has been training with Ashley also for a very, very long time, and we're all good family friends, and it's just one big family. So it's special. It's a really special team in that sense.
That is really special. And I saw on Facebook there maybe was a little surprise party that just happened.
Yeah, so I had no idea. But on Saturday, there was a surprise party for the Olympics, and my boyfriend planned the whole thing amongst many friends who helped out. And it was really special because my mom was able to be here, and my cousins and my sister, and I hadn't seen them since January because COVID. I actually had seen my sister, but I hadn't seen my mom, and she had been back home in Toronto and was not able to come to Wellington. And normally she lives in Wellington with me during the season as big support. So how it ended up was that we were driving up, it happened at the farm, and we were driving up the driveway of the farm because my boyfriend, who actually works there as well, said he had to check on something. So I'm driving up the driveway, and I just see probably like 40, 50 people out there on the driveway with Canadian flags and screaming and yelling. I was just like completely shocked. And my mom was there, and that was like really, really awesome to see her. So yeah, it was just incredible. And then Brittany showed up. She was supposed to come the following day with All In, but I guess they had planned for her to show up that night. So I didn't know Brittany was coming that night to the party, and she just ran in and I saw her, and it was like, oh my God, this is so wild. Yeah, it was really fun.
I love it. And then what have you been doing with Sebastian sort of after qualifying and all? What's been the plan with him sort of getting ready to leave for quarantine?
Yeah, so we had definitely a tough qualification period, very long. He was competing from January through till end of April, a lot of shows. So after that, I gave him a break. I probably gave him about a month, not completely off, but just hacking and really, really light work. He also goes on the water treadmill to keep his cardiovascular fitness up. So that's been really great to just have him just supplement his training with that and not have to work him hard every day. So I would say I started to really pick him up again in June slowly. And then we worked our way up, worked his fitness back up. And I've been taking lessons from Ashley once or twice a week on the Pixio camera. She's not here. So that's been really helpful. And yeah, I think it's all about, managing his fitness level, but not peaking too early. And so right now I would say he's fit, but he's the most fit probably now. And then once he travels, we'll bring him back down again. We'll start to work him a little bit harder once he gets acclimatized in Tokyo. So it's just balancing his fitness and his comfort level through all of it, right? But that's sort of what we've been doing.
I love it. Well, that's the challenge, isn't it? I mean, I think the travel for everybody is going to be so difficult. It's long to travel to Europe, and then the flight to Tokyo, I'm sure, is really long as well. So it's just like you said, it's a lot of travel now. So now you guys have to kind of manage that, and that's really for sure a challenge.
Exactly.
Isn't
it? It is. And like the one great thing is with these horses is they know their jobs, So you don't need to be on them every day riding, the movements all the time. It's just how do you keep them happy and fit, that they are prepared to go into Tokyo where it's like 95% humidity and they can handle that. So yeah, I think it's going to be, we'll see, right? How all of the horses do, but I'm confident he'll be okay.
Oh, well, we are going to be cheering you on like crazy, all of Team Canada.
Thanks.
And we are going to be cheering you guys on. We're so excited for you. And how can our listeners follow you, find you online?
Yeah, so my Instagram name is, I think it's Lindsay Kellock. I do have a website, but it's still under construction. So that's going to be coming up probably in the next month or two. And that's lindsaykellock.com. I also have a Facebook page, and of course, big shout out to a couple of my sponsors, Ogilvy Equestrian. They sponsor me with saddle, and they're just the most beautiful pads. I would recommend them to anyone. They're really breathable. They're easy to wash. They last long. And a great supportive sponsor is Sam Shield, my helmet sponsor. Beautiful helmets. You can get them in all different varieties, match your boots. They're great. Purina Feed Company has been a really big support. They're supplying Sebastian with all of his food to go to Tokyo. So that's extremely helpful. Of course, I always want to make note of a big thank you to Ashley Holzer for getting me here and for being a huge part of my career. She's so important to me and to all of us on the team, and just the hours and the dedication and just her positive approach to training has just been really influential for everyone. I know I can speak for everybody there. So yeah, and I'm excited, and I'm excited to share the journey with everybody. I know I posted something today on my Instagram that I'm going to do my best to, keep everyone involved and just see what happens behind the scenes. So I'm excited. Definitely give me a follow on Instagram for that.
I'm going to be following you. I can't wait. It's going to be so fun to watch you guys all go through. And I've been watching the Facebook posts, so I'm really looking forward to it. And we wish you all the best and can't wait to stay in touch.
Thank you. Thanks
Happy
so much.
Canada Day.
Talking to you guys.
Happy Canada Day.
Yeah. Thank you.
We're the Healthy Critters crew. I'm Tigger.
I'm Patty.
And I'm Coach Jen.
If you're a horse lover, dog lover, cat lover, llama lover, chicken lover, parrot lover, paw and hooves and feathers lover, Healthy Critters is for you. We have fascinating guests, nutrition tips, information on various critters, and the only talking Pomeranian dog on the radio.
Hello, everyone.
Join us for our bi-monthly laughter-filled romps on HRN.
Brought to you by BioStar US.
Well, Phil, we have gotten several of these questions, so we thought we would jump in the show and do some thoughts about sort of goals for retired horses. We've had several emails about this, and you and I both have some thoughts about sort of retiring horses and some stories. So you want me to tell my stories first?
Jump right in, and I'll follow it up, and we'll see if we can help people out with this question.
Yeah, so for sure. So I'm very lucky to own a farm, and I have had a few horses that I have had the pleasure of retiring. I still have my Grand Prix mare. Her name was Jamaica, and we call her Meep. And I actually have owned Meep. Oh my goodness. It's been about 20 years that I've owned her. And we've been through lots of life together. And I think she's a very, very special horse to me. She's now 30 years old, which is crazy. She just had her 30th birthday. And she's still with us here at the farm and very much a part of our day here. Let me tell you, you will not be late for afternoon feeding if Meep has anything to do with it. But kind of how she's sort of come into retirement. She was a competition horse that competed her Grand Prix. She won actually some really good Grand Prix. And then she transitioned for a couple years. She actually had an injury and she transitioned to being a broodmare for me. So she had two babies, two mares, both of which have been very, very successful. One of her mares is an FEI horse, and actually both mares are FEI horses now. And her one mare I sold to a very good friend of mine, close. So she's won the US national finals. And that was just thrilling to see her do that. And then after she had a few foals, we transitioned her back into riding, and she very much took a role of being kind of a lesson horse / working student horse. So the girls got some really, really, really good miles on her. Again, she was kind of late teens, early 20s at that time, probably early 20s actually. And she loved that job for a while, and she had a little bit more advanced students. And then she transitioned to some adult amateur students that were not as confident. And then one day I could just kind of tell, like, she just kind of told me that she was not thinking this was fun anymore. And I always said to her, if there were ever a time that she didn't want to go to work anymore, I would respect that. So right around that time, my niece was a little itty bitty, And so my niece actually rode her. It's terrified my mom, but I knew Meep was such a gentle soul and such a good girl. So my niece was, oh my goodness, she was probably 4, and she would brush her with supervision, of course. And she rode her and she gave her some really good confidence, actually. She even started to do a little trot, kind of. My sister and I were both with her. And then one day Meep just said, I don't want to do this at all anymore. And my sister was actually tacking her up on that day. And she just, sent me a text and said, yeah, Meep's ready for full retirement. So since then, she's on full retirement. She has her best friend is a little Frisian mare who she's out with, and we bring her in. She's in the main barn. Actually, I just love her company. I love seeing her. I love giving her treats. She always gets brushed every day. So we're really lucky that I have the staff and the time. And quite frankly, I just enjoy her company. So I give her treats every day and just give her love. And she's happily retired. She's out in a field in the evening. And definitely I can see now, we monitor her health. And then I'm also very lucky that when I'm in Florida, my sister owns, and this is kind of part of the conversation, a farm in Kentucky. And there are several farms here in Kentucky where people are starting to have retirement horses. So that's what my sister does, actually. That's her farm. She takes care of retired horses. They go and live at her farm. And she's so kind because she always leaves a space for Meep in the winter. So Meep always has a place to go. And of course, then I know my sister's managing her and watching her health. And my niece still brushes her and loves on her. She has a lot of glitter on her all the time and whatever. It's fun. I don't think Meep likes the glitter as much as Addison does, but it's just been fun to have her as part of our life. But it is a commitment. It is a financial commitment that I think as you have horses age, you have to be ready for that financial commitment. Like I said, very lucky that I still pay board actually at my sister's, but I have a place that she can go and be safe. So I think that's the biggest thing. She doesn't have any shoes on, but she is trimmed and gets her teeth done and sort of all the basic care. So that's been my story with her, and I've loved it, and I hope she's with us for many, many more years. But we do monitor her health, and the vet does come and see her sometimes. And I watch her in the extreme temperatures. So it was very hot here 2 days ago. And I really watched her and made sure she had extra electrolytes and sort of senior care. She's old. She's 30. And in the winter, she's blanketed, she's fed. She's just started sort of dropping more weight in the winter. So we watched that. So that's kind of my story with her. And then I did have another FEI horse. Actually, my one horse that I rode internationally, his name was Guberg's Casper. So he is 29 this year. And I actually gave him to a friend / sold him to a friend. She was able to get her gold medal on him, but I knew I couldn't retire both horses. So basically I found him a home. He lives in Florida and he is absolutely wonderful. He's been the light of his mom's life. And I always go see him once a year when I'm in Ocala and give him apples and love. But he was a horse that I knew I couldn't afford to retire both horses. So I was very careful to make sure he had the right retirement plan. And I think with any of these horses, it's important that they have the right retirement plan and what's going on with them and what they're doing. So those were kind of my two stories of my recent horses that I've retired. And I've been very pleased and happy that both of them continue to live very, very good lives and they're very happy horses. So, Phil, those are kind of my stories with horses that I retired. What's your stories?
So, just thinking about this and thinking about horses I've had and other ones or where students have had. And so if you're riding a little bit of an older horse, it's always something to think about is what is my retirement plan for my horse, and whether they're high level trained or just a horse that you've learned on and you didn't get up through the levels. These horses are very, very valuable, not in terms of cash, but in sentiment. So a lot of people are very reluctant to try to sell them, and it's not something that you have to do. But consult your coach or consult your friends or whatever, because these horses have a lot of value in teaching new riders or getting new people into the sport. There's always a need for reliable, safe horses for people to learn on. And even though you feel responsible, like you've had your horse a long time and you feel super responsible and you've got that connection, you got that partnership, it doesn't mean that your horse can't get that from someone else as well. It's just about finding the right place or finding the right situation. Like if you're kind of thinking, okay, I've gone as far as I can go with my horse, what do I do now? Talk to somebody about it, work it through, because you've got that emotional attachment and you can still be responsible for the horse in some way, like you said, in visiting your horse or really finding the right home. And I'm sure that if for whatever reason that person comes back to you and said, my life circumstances have changed, I need to help find someone else for him, her, for that horse, I'm sure you would jump in and be there for it. Just because you don't see them every day, you of course you're going to feel responsible. So try to find a situation in which your horse can help someone else on their dressage journey, is what I'm saying. Like it's not that you have to be daily involved with their lives forever, and then they can have a new journey with a different rider with just as much love and the best care and all of that. I just find that there's not enough good teachers around. Right. I'm constantly looking for those situations with great clients and great people who are ready for maybe their first horse or ready to learn things, and there just aren't those horses around to take care of people. And if you have one, maybe you should think about that as a situation in their later life.
Well, and that's kind of why I shared the story of sort of me stepping down in her life. You know, I kind of listened to her at each stage. And I mean, she had countless students that loved riding her. She wasn't really able anymore to compete internationally and really go for the Grand Prix. But oh my gosh, she was an amazing teacher for her riders. And I'm so glad I was able to share her. And I do think people maybe, you know, and again, it's not retiring too early. I think every situation is unique, but that idea of thinking about what can your horse offer for, maybe it's not competing Prix St. George anymore or higher levels, but like you said, there's so many people that need teachers out there. And I don't think, and Phil, you may have got me on a soapbox, but we don't lease horses very often in dressage, and the hunter jumpers do it all the time. And I think there is something to be said about leasing a horse for someone. Maybe, you know, you're not ready to sell or don't want to sell that horse, but just leasing it to someone can be such a great option. And then they're not literally put out the pasture. They have time to teach another person. So it's really a cool thing. So there's lots of options. And I think every horse is unique. I think it's probably like retiring. When you get ready to retire, you're in your job, you know, how you're going to do it. Everybody's a little bit different. And I think it's the same with horses. But I agree. I think horses should really, they should always enjoy and enjoy their job and enjoy their people. And sometimes it's hard sometimes to let go of that dream. Like it was hard for me to mentally say, she doesn't want to compete Grand Prix anymore. But the good thing is, as a mare, she was like, I don't want to compete Grand Prix anymore. I'm done. And I was like, okay, memo received. But she then went to a working student and she just, loved the Prix St. George. She was like, this is amazing. And so I think that's where it comes into really listening to your horse and seeing what they want to do and how they want to do it. So I love it. And if you have any stories you want to share with us, please do. And like I said, there are people now that just have retirement homes for your favorite horsey friends. And they can be great places. So we hope that helps for our listeners that send us questions. And again, feel free always to send us emails and shout outs and Facebook, because we're always happy to answer any questions that you have. And we enjoy that part of our job. So thank you.
Well, Reese, for anybody that follows me on Facebook, they probably saw that I got my latest order from Total Saddle Fit. You know, I had some things that I needed to get as we are getting ready to go to our first horse show of the year, you know. So, I got a couple of new liners and I got another set of stability stirrup leathers, just great products. And I wanted to make sure that I can show them off at the show for Total Saddle Fit.
I love it. I mean, it's true. We really use these products. We really love them. We have used them and abused them. And we really thank Justin for being such a great sponsor of our show. But truly, these are products that are fantastic and we use them every day. And we love how durable they are, how affordable they are, and they really, really last long. Like you've had those liners for a long time.
Yeah, I think it must be 3 or 4 years. And then I finally said, I want to represent the products well at the horse shows, and so I replaced them, and it's not that anything really happened to the other ones. It's just they got used, they got worn, So
it's time.
Yeah, it was time.
I love it. Well, as always, TotalSaddleFit.com is the place to go. Fantastic products, and we always love it when you share pictures and tag us. We get a kick out of it. So. Thanks to Total Saddle Fit for all their support and their fantastic products.
This week's dressage training tip is brought to you by Total Saddle Fit, home of the shoulder relief girth at TotalSaddleFit.com.
Well, tonight I'm so happy for our Total Saddle Fit tip of the week to have Alice Tarjan on the line. Alice, welcome back to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Well, we are so excited to have you discuss. You've got a great thing because you're very successful training young horses and international Grand Prix horses all the way up. So what is our trainer tip of the week?
It would be to praise horses for effort and ideas rather than for actual things. So for instance, if you want to take the Piaffe, it starts with barely looking like anything where you just want your horse to jig a little bit, and anything towards that idea I would praise, even though it's going to take a while before it actually looks like a Piaffe per se. So I'm very careful as long as the horse gives me effort, I'll praise it. And as long as the horse is thinking in the right direction, I'll praise that too, even if it's not actually getting to the ultimate, whatever it's going to look like, whether it's a flying change or a pirouette or a Piaffe quite yet.
Well, and I love this tip because I think all of us, I've certainly done it. It's not exactly in my mind what I want. Maybe it's not a Piaffe. Instead of thinking about development, right? And that's what I think is so important that you think about as you're doing this is how is the horse developing? Are they thinking the way you want them to think, right? I mean, that's what I'm taking from this and as a good reminder as well.
Yes, for sure. For sure. I try to praise the horses and for thinking the right ideas. And for giving me effort, for trying. And even if they try and they give me the wrong thing, sometimes I'll praise that too, just because I want them to feel like they can make as many mistakes as they want. That's okay. But they just have to try to play the game.
Yeah. When I'm training horses or trying to help people train their own horses, I start to think about, what are the ingredients I'm trying to instill in the horse's training. You guys were talking about Piaffe and that's great, but even all the way down to a leg yield, where you think what's the simple ingredient I need, moving away from the leg, then as long as they move away from the leg, even if it's not super lateral with front end and back end and it's, it's not a perfect leg yield, but if you're trying to introduce a new concept to the horse, then you have to praise anything that's in the direction of, a leg yield, for instance, or a half pass or a travers, even if you've got a great idea of what it will be in the future, you need ingredients first and you need the idea first, and then you can add the polish and the power and the strength.
Absolutely. So like thinking about the leg yield. So like if you put your leg on your horse and it didn't move away from your horse, right? And you ask again and again, you still don't get anything. And then you tap it with the whip and maybe it jumps off the whip and goes forward. But at that point, I would still praise the horse because it still did something, even though it didn't even move off the leg laterally. At least it did something off the leg, right? So it's thinking in the right direction. Yeah. So you praise it and then you go back again and say, now if you can move it a little bit sideways. Yeah. But any kind of effort or idea going towards the right direction for me is more than enough and to take the pressure off.
Well, I think that's
absolutely great.
So important because I think as riders, we can be pretty laser focused. So you really have to think like that. Like the horse did respond. It wasn't exactly right, but there was a response because I think if you shut them down, then, eventually the horses are like, I don't know what you want and I don't want to try. So I think that's
no, absolutely. Yeah. I think that they have to, and again, even if it's a mistake, like you would say, okay, so you tapped the horse and it went forward rather than sideways, and that's not what you're looking for, but it did do something. It made an effort to play the game. And for me, that's all they have to do is put the effort forward. Yeah. And then it's a matter of trying to direct the energy and show them which way to put that energy per se. Yes. But I think that people say, well, no, it was still naughty because it didn't move off the leg and I asked it to move sideways. And for me, it's like, no, the horse did do something. It just doesn't understand. That's okay. They can make as many mistakes as they need to along those lines. Like mistakes are fine. I'm good with mistakes.
Yeah. I think so too. And then you at the end of the day, you get horses that'll fight for you and they want to understand what you want. So I think it's
because they're getting rewarded for the effort. Absolutely. Yeah.
No, I love it. Well, Alice, thank you. This is a great reminder for all of us, as you're riding every day, like, what am I asking for? And is my horse trying? And you do such a beautiful job with your horses. So thank you so much for your time tonight for our tip.
Thank you so much for having me.
Well, Phil, one of the kind of our shining moments with the show in the last year during the pandemic is we've been doing a lot of stuff to kind of build community with our listeners, and we appreciate all the feedback and everything we have going. And so a couple announcements on that side. Remember, it's coming to a close with this book, but our book club of the month, it's been Ride Big, The Ultimate Goal to Building Equestrian Confidence by John Haim. Great book. I think it's really, as everyone's starting to get back to competition, really worth your time and really worth the read. And we're going to be doing the review coming shortly. And also remember, we are doing, and you have to send us an email, either Reese at Horse Radio Network or Philip at horseradionetwork.com, about your small business. We were really excited to have Zoe on a few weeks ago and highlight her small business, Pony Sockbox. And we would love to highlight your business. So if you have a small business similar to hers, send one of us an email or both. And we will start highlighting just small businesses around the horse industry because we feel like it's really important for our community. So we like it. That's what we're enjoying, all of the things and getting to know everybody. So keep the email and Facebook shout outs coming. The United States Dressage Federation is your connection to dressage education, competition, and achievement. Visit USDF.org for more information. That's www.usdf.org, the online destination for dressage. You can find our show notes and links to today's guests on our website, dressageradio.com. Like us on Facebook, just search Dressage Radio Show. Follow us on Twitter at Horse Radio. My website is maplecrestfarmky.com, and my email is reese@horseradionetwork.com.
I think the best way to find me is through Facebook, or my email is philip@horseradionetwork.com. I'd like to thank our sponsors for allowing us to put on a good show. That's Kentucky Performance Products and Total Saddle Fit. Don't forget to check out all the other shows on the Horse Radio Network at horseradionetwork.com.
Everybody, keep your heels down and your shoulders back, and we'll talk to you next week.